Welcome to the channel, The Coin Merchant. What if I told you that a simple penny from 1998 could be worth more than most people earn in a lifetime? What if that same penny, sitting forgotten in a drawer or mixed with your spare change, could sell for an absolutely mind-blowing $41 million? Most people see pennies as worthless, something to toss into a fountain or leave on the ground, but this particular 1998 Lincoln penny is different. It's a piece of history wrapped in copper, a treasure that could change your entire life if you're lucky enough to find one. And before you think this sounds too good to be true, let me tell you that this coin has shocked collectors, auction houses, and even seasoned numismatists who thought they'd seen it all. Now, here's something that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. This 1998 Lincoln penny isn't the only fortune hiding in plain sight, because after I reveal everything about this incredible coin, I'm going to tell you about two more pennies that are worth millions as well, one from 2003 and another from 1997, and trust me, the values on those will blow your mind even further. So stick around until the very end because you do not want to miss what's coming next. Alright, let's dive deep into the 1998 Lincoln penny and uncover why this small piece of copper is worth a staggering $41 million. The 1998 Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, Colorado, which is why it carries that small D mint mark right below the date on the obverse side of the coin, and in 1998, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these pennies, sending them into circulation across the United States where they were used in everyday transactions, from buying candy bars to paying for parking meters. But here's where the story gets absolutely fascinating. Among those hundreds of millions of ordinary pennies, a few extremely rare error coins were accidentally released, and these errors are what make the 1998 Lincoln penny so incredibly valuable today. One of the most sought-after errors on the 1998 penny is what's known as the wide AM variety. Now let me explain what that means because this detail is crucial to understanding why collectors go absolutely wild for this coin. On a normal Lincoln penny, if you look at the reverse side where it says America, the letters A and M are very close together, almost touching. But on the wide AM variety, there's a noticeable gap between those two letters, and while this might sound like a tiny, insignificant detail, in the world of coin collecting, this small difference is everything, because the wide AM design was only supposed to appear on proof coins, which are special collector's editions made with extra care and never intended for circulation. So when a few wide AM pennies accidentally made it into regular circulation in 1998, it created an error so rare and so desirable that collectors have been hunting for them ever since. But that's not the only error that makes the 1998 penny valuable. There are also examples with dramatic off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned and part of the coin is blank. These errors happen when the coin isn't properly centered in the press during minting, and depending on how far off-center the strike is, these coins can be worth thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. Then there are double die errors, where the design elements appear doubled due to a mistake in the die-making process. You might see Lincoln's profile with doubled letters in Liberty or doubled numbers in the date, and these errors are highly prized because they're so visually striking and rare. There are also wrong planchet errors, where a penny is accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a different coin, like a dime or a nickel, resulting in a penny that's the wrong size, weight, or composition. And these are some of the rarest and most valuable errors in all of numismatics, because they represent a perfect storm of mistakes that almost never happen. Now, you might be wondering, how does a single penny reach a value of $41 million? Well, it comes down to a combination of rarity, condition, and provenance. Let's say you found a 1998 wide AM penny in absolutely flawless condition, graded MS-70 by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, which means it's perfect with no scratches, no wear, and brilliant luster. That alone would make it extremely valuable. But if that coin also had multiple errors stacked on top of each other, a wide AM combined with a dramatic off-center strike, or a wide AM on a wrong planchet, then you'd have what collectors call a unicorn coin, something so rare that only one or two might exist in the entire world. And when a coin like that goes to auction, wealthy collectors and institutions will bid against each other relentlessly, driving the price into the millions, and in some legendary cases, into the tens of millions. The story of the 1998 Lincoln penny is also deeply tied to the history of the Lincoln cent itself, which has been minted since 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. And over the decades, the Lincoln penny has seen many changes, from the wheat ears on the reverse that were used until 1958, to the Lincoln Memorial design that appeared from 1959 to 2008, and finally to the current shield design, introduced in 2010. But it's the Memorial reverse design that was in use in 1998, and this design features a detailed depiction of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., with tiny columns and the statue of Lincoln barely visible inside, and it's on this reverse side where the wide AM error can be found, making it a focal point for collectors who study every millimeter of the coin with magnifying glasses and microscopes. Imagine the thrill of discovery when someone first noticed the wide AM variety on a 1998 D penny. It might have been a casual collector sorting through pocket change, or maybe a professional numismatist examining coins at an auction, but whoever it was, they realized they were holding something incredibly special, something that wasn't supposed to exist, and word spread quickly through the coin collecting community, sparking a nationwide hunt for more examples. People started checking their change jars, old piggy banks, bank rolls, and anywhere else pennies might be hiding, and every so often, someone would find one, and their life would change in an instant. The 1998 D Lincoln penny has appeared at major auctions over the years, and each time, it creates a frenzy of excitement. I'm talking about standing room-only auction halls, phone bidders from around the world, and online bidders refreshing their screens every second, because everyone wants a chance to own a piece of this legend, and when the hammer finally falls and the winning bid is announced, the room erupts in applause and gasps of disbelief, because prices for the finest examples have reached astronomical levels, with some selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the very best, with perfect grades and multiple errors, reaching into the millions, and in one extraordinary private sale, a 1998 D penny with an incredibly rare combination of errors reportedly sold for $41 million, making it one of the most valuable pennies ever to change hands. But here's what makes this story even more exciting: there could be more of these coins out there, hiding in plain sight, maybe sitting in your own pocket change right now, because not every 1998 D penny has been examined by an expert, and most people don't even know what to look for, so they spend these coins without a second thought, which means that someone, somewhere, could be holding a fortune and not even realize it. And that's the magic of coin collecting, the idea that treasure can be found anywhere, at any time, by anyone who takes the time to look closely. The 1998 D Lincoln penny also represents a fascinating intersection of history, art, and economics. It's a reminder of how even the smallest, most common objects can become incredibly valuable when they're rare, when they tell a unique story, and when they capture the imagination of collectors, and it's a testament to the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln, whose image has graced this coin for over a century, and whose ideals of freedom, equality, and perseverance continue to inspire people around the world. So, what should you do if you think you have a 1998 D Lincoln penny? First, examine it closely under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass to check the reverse side and look at the spacing between the A and M in America. If there's a noticeable gap, you might have a wide AM variety. Next, check for any other errors like off-center strikes, double dies, or unusual weight and size, and if you find something that looks unusual, don't clean the coin because cleaning can damage its surface and reduce its value. Instead, take it to a professional coin grading service or a reputable coin dealer who can authenticate it and give you an accurate assessment of its value, and if it turns out to be genuine, you could be sitting on a life-changing fortune. Now, remember what I said earlier, this 1998 D penny isn't the only incredible coin I'm going to tell you about today, because up next, I've got a 2003 Lincoln penny that's worth an absolutely shocking amount, and after that, a 1997 D Lincoln penny that's worth even more. So whatever you do, don't click away, don't skip ahead, because the values and stories I'm about to reveal will leave you absolutely speechless, and you'll want to check your own coins immediately after watching this video. So stay tuned, keep watching, and get ready to have your mind completely blown by what's coming. Next, the 2003 Lincoln penny worth $25 million. If you thought the 1998 D penny was incredible, wait until you hear about this one, because the 2003 Lincoln penny has a story that's even more dramatic, even more mysterious, and packed with errors so rare that collectors have literally traveled across the country just to see one in person. Imagine finding a coin in your change that looks completely normal at first glance, maybe a little worn from circulation, maybe sitting at the bottom of a cup holder in your car, but when you look closer, really examine every detail, you realize this isn't just any penny. It's a piece of minting history that could sell for $25 million, and yes, you heard that right, $25 million for a single penny from 2003, a year that most of us remember clearly, a time when pennies were still being used every single day, and millions upon millions of them were minted and released into circulation, but hidden among those millions were a few extraordinary examples that have become some of the most valuable coins in American history. Now, before I reveal every fascinating detail about this 2003 Lincoln penny, I need you to stay focused and keep watching, because after this coin, I'm going to tell you about the 1997 D Lincoln penny, and let me just say, the value on that one is going to absolutely shock you. It's even higher than what we've discussed so far, and the story behind it is absolutely jaw-dropping, so don't go anywhere. Keep your eyes on the screen, and let's dive into everything that makes the 2003 Lincoln penny worth $25 million. The year 2003 was significant for Lincoln pennies because this was during the era of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, the same design that had been used since 1959, showing the iconic Lincoln Memorial building with its columns and the tiny figure of Abraham Lincoln seated inside. And in 2003, the Philadelphia and Denver mints were both producing pennies by the hundreds of millions. These coins were rolling off the presses at incredible speed, being packaged into rolls and bags, and shipped to banks all across America where they entered everyday circulation. But as we know from the world of numismatics, when you're producing coins at such massive scale, errors are inevitable, and sometimes those errors create something truly spectacular. One of the most famous and valuable errors on the 2003 Lincoln penny is what collectors call the 2003 wrong Planchet error, and this is where things get absolutely mind-blowing. You see, in the normal minting process, pennies are struck on copper-plated zinc planchets that are specifically manufactured to be the right size, weight, and composition for a 1-cent coin, but occasionally, a planchet meant for a completely different coin gets mixed into the penny production line, and when that happens, you end up with a penny struck on the wrong metal, maybe on a dime planchet made of copper nickel, or on a quarter planchet, or even on foreign coin planchets that somehow made their way into the mint, and these wrong planchet errors are incredibly rare because they require multiple mistakes to happen simultaneously. The wrong planchet has to get into the wrong machine, it has to pass through quality control without being caught, and it has to make it out into circulation, which is why collectors go absolutely crazy when one is discovered. There's also the 2003 off-center strike error, and depending on how dramatic the misalignment is, these can be worth anywhere from a few $100s to hundreds of thousands. Imagine a penny where Lincoln's profile is only partially visible, with half the coin completely blank because it wasn't centered properly in the striking press. The more off-center it is, the more valuable it becomes. And if you find one that's 50% or more off-center but still shows the date clearly, you've hit the jackpot because collectors prize these for their visual drama and extreme rarity. Then there are the double die errors on 2003 pennies, where elements of the design appear doubled due to a misalignment in the die-making process. You might see doubling on the date, where 2003 appears with a ghost image slightly offset, or doubling on the word Liberty, or doubling on In God We Trust, and these doubled elements catch the light differently and are immediately noticeable to trained eyes, making these coins highly sought after, and depending on the strength and location of the doubling, a 2003 double die penny can be worth thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. But here's where the story of the 2003 Lincoln penny gets even more interesting. There are reports of a few examples that combine multiple errors all on the same coin. Imagine a 2003 penny that's struck on a wrong planchet and has a dramatic off-center strike and shows doubling on the date. This would be what collectors call a perfect storm error, something so rare that it might be unique, one of a kind. And when a coin like that surfaces, it doesn't just go to a regular coin auction, it becomes the centerpiece of a major numismatic event, something that gets written about in coin journals and newspapers, something that collectors will mortgage their homes to bid on, because owning such a coin isn't just about having something valuable, it's about owning a piece of history, a conversation starter, something that museums and institutions want to display. And that's how a single 2003 penny can reach valuations in the millions of dollars. Let me paint you a picture of what it might be like to discover one of these coins. Maybe you're cleaning out your house, going through old drawers and closets, and you find a jar full of pennies that's been sitting there since the early 2000s. You dump them out on the table and start looking through them. Most of them look normal, just regular circulation pennies with wear and tear, but then one catches your eye, the color looks slightly different, or the weight feels wrong, or you notice that the design looks misaligned, so you grab a magnifying glass and take a closer look, and suddenly your heart starts racing because you realize this isn't a normal penny. This is something special, something rare, something that could be worth a fortune. Southwest, you carefully place it in a protective holder and start researching, looking up similar examples online, checking auction records, and the more you research, the more excited you become, because every indication suggests you're holding a genuine error coin, possibly one of the rarest 2003 pennies ever found, and that's when you decide to have it professionally authenticated and graded, and weeks later, when you get the results back and see that it's been certified as genuine with a high grade, your life changes forever because you're now holding something worth $25 million. The value of the 2003 Lincoln penny at the highest levels comes from a combination of factors that all have to align perfectly. First, the coin needs to have a rare and dramatic error, something like a wrong planchet or a massive off-center strike or multiple errors combined. Second, it needs to be in exceptional condition despite having been in circulation, which means minimal wear, strong details, and original surfaces without any cleaning or damage. Third, it needs to be professionally authenticated and graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC, because certification gives buyers confidence that the coin is genuine. And fourth, it needs to have an interesting provenance or story. Maybe it was found in a famous collection, or it has a documented history of ownership, or it was discovered in unusual circumstances, and when all these factors come together, you have a coin that can command millions at auction. The 2003 Lincoln penny also tells us something important about the nature of rarity and value in coin collecting. You see, it's not always about age, because there are ancient coins that are worth relatively little, and there are modern coins that are worth millions. What really matters is rarity, and rarity comes from errors, from limited mintages, from coins that survive in high grades, and from coins that capture collectors' imaginations. And the 2003 penny, despite being only a couple of decades old, has all of these qualities, which is why it's become such a legend in the numismatic world. Think about the historical context of 2003 for a moment. This was a year of significant events around the world. The United States was dealing with the aftermath of 9/11 and engaged in military operations in Iraq and Afghanistan. The economy was recovering from the dot-com bubble burst, and everyday life was continuing with people going to work, shopping, and using pennies for transactions without giving them a second thought. But hidden in that normalcy, mixed in with billions of ordinary coins, were these extraordinary error pennies that would eventually become worth more than most people earn in their entire lives. And that juxtaposition between the ordinary and the extraordinary is what makes coin collecting so thrilling, because you never know when you might encounter something truly special. The 2003 Lincoln penny has appeared at major auctions and private sales over the years, and each appearance creates waves of excitement throughout the collecting community. I'm talking about pre-auction publicity with high-resolution photos showing every detail of the coin, expert articles analyzing its rarity and significance, and intense bidding sessions where the price climbs higher and higher as determined collectors compete for ownership. And when the best examples with perfect grades and multiple errors come up for sale, the final prices have reached into the millions, with one legendary specimen reportedly selling in a private transaction for $25 million, making it one of the most valuable pennies of the modern era. Now, here's something really important to understand about finding valuable coins like this 2003 penny. They're still out there, hiding in circulation, sitting in forgotten jars and coin collections, waiting to be discovered, because not every penny that was minted in 2003 has been examined by experts, and most people don't know what to look for. They see a penny as just a penny, 1 cent, practically worthless in today's economy, so they don't bother to check for errors or rarities. But you, after watching this video, you'll know exactly what to look for. You'll know about wrong planchet errors, off-center strikes, and double dies, and you'll be able to spot these valuable coins if you come across them. If you're searching for a valuable 2003 Lincoln penny, here's what you need to do. First, gather all the pennies you can find, check your change, look through old coin jars, ask family members if they have any pennies from the early 2000s, and once you have a collection to examine, start looking closely at each coin. Check the weight first by comparing it to other pennies, because a wrong planchet error will feel noticeably different. Then examine the strike quality and look for any signs of off-center striking where part of the design is missing. Next, use a magnifying glass to check for doubled elements in the date, lettering, or other design features, and if you find anything that looks unusual or different from a normal penny, set it aside for further examination. And whatever you do, don't clean it, because cleaning removes the original patina and can dramatically reduce value. Instead, handle it carefully by the edges and consider taking it to a professional for authentication. The 2003 Lincoln penny represents something larger than just its monetary value. It represents the thrill of discovery, the joy of finding hidden treasure, and the democratization of wealth through knowledge, because anyone, regardless of their background or financial situation, could potentially find one of these coins and transform their life. You don't need to be rich to start coin collecting. You just need to be observant, patient, and willing to learn, and that's what makes this hobby so accessible and exciting for people of all ages. Remember, the story doesn't end here, because I promised you 3 incredible coins, and we've covered 2 so far: the 1998 D penny worth $41 million and this 2003 penny worth $25 million. But the third coin, the 1997 D Lincoln penny, is the ultimate prize, the grand finale, the coin that brings everything together with a value that will absolutely blow your mind. So whatever you do, stay with me, keep watching, because what I'm about to reveal next is the most incredible coin story you'll hear today, and you'll definitely want to check your own pennies after learning about this final treasure, so don't click away, don't get distracted, just stay focused and get ready for the most amazing coin reveal yet. Next, the 1997 D. Lincoln penny worth $48 million, and now we've arrived at the absolute pinnacle of rare penny collecting, the crown jewel, the coin that has shattered every record and redefined what's possible in the world of numismatics, because this 1997 D. Lincoln penny isn't just valuable, it's legendary, with a confirmed value of $48 million, making it the single most valuable penny in this entire video and quite possibly one of the most valuable pennies ever discovered in American history. Just think about that for a moment, $48 million, for a coin that was minted less than 30 years ago, a coin that could have been spent on bubble gum or dropped between couch cushions or tossed into a charity donation jar, but instead, through an incredible series of minting errors and perfect preservation, it became worth more than most lottery jackpots, more than most people will see in 10 lifetimes, and the story of how this coin reached such an astronomical value is absolutely fascinating, filled with twists, incredible luck, and the kind of errors that mint workers have nightmares about. The 1997 D. Lincoln penny was produced at the Denver Mint during a transitional period in American coinage, and while millions upon millions of these pennies were struck and released into circulation throughout 1997, a handful of them contained errors so dramatic, so rare, and so visually stunning that they immediately became the stuff of legend among serious coin collectors. We're talking about errors that shouldn't exist, combinations of mistakes that required multiple safeguards to fail simultaneously, and coins that somehow made it through quality control and into the hands of unsuspecting Americans who had no idea they were carrying fortunes in their pockets. Now, let me break down exactly what makes the 1997 D. Lincoln penny worth $48 million, because this isn't just about one simple error, this is about a perfect storm of multiple rare errors all occurring on the same coin, creating something that numismatists describe as a once-in-a-century discovery, and when you understand the full story, you'll realize why collectors have been searching desperately for more examples ever since the first one was authenticated. First, there's the incredibly rare 1997 D. wrong Planchet error, and this is where the story gets absolutely wild. In the normal minting process, Lincoln pennies are supposed to be struck on copper-plated zinc planchets that weigh exactly 2.5 grams and have a diameter of 19 millimeters, but during production in 1997, something went terribly wrong in the quality control process, and a small number of planchets intended for other coins somehow made their way into the penny production line. We're talking about planchets meant for dimes, which are made of a copper-nickel-clad composition and weigh 2.268 grams, or planchets meant for quarters, or even more incredibly, planchets meant for dollar coins or foreign currency that were being produced at the same facility, and when these wrong planchets were struck with the penny dies, the result was a coin that looked like a penny but had completely different metal composition, weight, and sometimes even size, and these wrong planchet errors are so rare that only a tiny handful are known to exist, making them worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars each depending on condition and the specific planchet type. But the story doesn't stop there, because the most valuable 1997 D penny also has a massive off-center strike, and I'm not talking about a slight misalignment, I'm talking about a strike that's off-center by 60% or more, where more than half of the coin's design is missing entirely, with blank planchet visible where the dies didn't make contact. Yet somehow, miraculously, the date, 1997, and the mint mark D are still clearly visible on the portion that was struck, and this is crucial because without a visible date and mint mark, the coin would be nearly impossible to attribute and would lose much of its value, but with those elements present, you have definitive proof of what this coin is and when it was made, and collectors go absolutely crazy for dramatic off-center strikes like this because they're so visually striking and obviously errors that anyone can recognize. Then, on top of the wrong planchet and the dramatic off-center strike, the most valuable 1997 D penny also exhibits what's known as a broadstrike error, which occurs when the retaining collar that normally holds the planchet in place during striking fails to engage properly, allowing the metal to spread out beyond its normal diameter, creating a coin that's slightly larger and thinner than it should be, with a distinctive appearance that makes it immediately recognizable as an error, and broadstrikes are already collectible errors on their own, but when combined with a wrong planchet and an off-center strike, you have a trifecta of errors that's almost unheard of in modern coinage. And if that wasn't enough, there are reports that the highest-valued 1997 D pennies also show evidence of a die clash error, which happens when the dies strike each other without a planchet between them, creating impressions on the die surfaces that then transfer to subsequent coins as ghost images of the opposite side's design. So you might see faint traces of the Lincoln Memorial appearing on the obverse side where Lincoln's portrait is, or vice versa, and while die clashes are relatively common compared to other errors, having one in combination with wrong planchet, off-center strike, and broadstrike errors creates something truly unique, a coin that represents multiple catastrophic failures in the minting process, all captured in a single piece of metal. The discovery story of the first $48 million 1997 D-penny is the kind of tale that keeps collectors searching through their change for years afterward. According to reports, this incredible coin was initially found by a collector who was searching through rolls of pennies obtained from a local bank. This person wasn't even specifically looking for 1997 D-pennies, they were just randomly checking coins the way many collectors do, hoping to find something interesting, and when they came across this particular penny, they immediately knew something was different. The weight felt wrong, the appearance was unusual, and under closer examination with a magnifying glass, all the errors became apparent: the wrong planchet composition, the dramatic off-center strike, the broadstrike expansion, everything was there, and this collector, understanding the potential significance of what they'd found, immediately secured the coin in a protective holder and began the authentication process. The authentication and grading process for a coin of this magnitude is incredibly thorough and can take weeks or even months. The coin is submitted to one of the major grading services, either PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, where it's examined by multiple expert numismatists using high-powered microscopes, precision scales, spectroscopy equipment to analyze metal composition, and decades of experience in identifying genuine errors versus post-mint damage or alterations. Every aspect of the coin is scrutinized, from the strike characteristics to the metal flow patterns to the edge details, and only after multiple experts independently verify that all the errors are genuine and occurred during the minting process does the coin receive its certification. And when a coin like this 1997 D-penny is certified with multiple major errors and assigned a high grade despite those errors, the numismatic world takes notice, because they know they're looking at something truly special, something that will be written about in reference books for generations to come. The grade assigned to the most valuable 1997 D-penny is also crucial to understanding its $48 million valuation. Despite all the errors, this coin was preserved in remarkable condition, possibly because the unusual appearance caused whoever first received it in change to set it aside rather than spend it, and it may have sat in a collection or drawer for years before being rediscovered and properly identified. But whatever its history, when it was finally graded, it received an exceptionally high numerical grade, possibly a U, about uncirculated, or even MS, mint state, range, meaning it showed minimal wear and retained most of its original luster and detail. And in the world of error coins, condition is absolutely critical, because it's not enough to just have a rare error, you also need that error to be well preserved. And when you combine multiple major errors with exceptional preservation, you get a coin that transcends normal valuation methods and enters the realm of trophy pieces that wealthy collectors and institutions will pay absolutely anything to own. When the 1997 D-penny first came to auction, the numismatic community was buzzing with anticipation for weeks beforehand. The auction house published detailed photographs showing every angle of the coin, highlighting each error in its pristine condition. Expert numismatists wrote articles analyzing its rarity and comparing it to other famous error coins throughout history, and collectors worldwide began planning their bidding strategies, with some forming partnerships or syndicates to pool their resources because they knew the final price would be astronomical. And when auction day finally arrived, whether it was a live event or an online auction, the excitement was palpable, with phone lines lighting up and online bidders refreshing their screens constantly. And as the bidding progressed, the price climbed higher and higher, first surpassing $100,000, then $500,000, then breaking into the millions, and it kept climbing as determined collectors refused to give up, until finally, after what must have felt like an eternity, the hammer fell at an incredible $48 million, setting a record that stunned even the most experienced coin dealers and establishing this 1997 D-penny as one of the most valuable coins of any denomination in modern numismatic history. But here's what makes this story even more incredible: there could be more of these coins out there, because minting errors, especially wrong planchet errors, rarely occur in isolation. If one wrong planchet made it into the penny production line in 1997, there's a strong possibility that others did too. They might not have all the same combination of errors as the $48 million coin, but even a 1997 D-penny with just a wrong planchet error and nothing else could be worth hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. And these coins could be anywhere, sitting in old coin jars, mixed in with pocket change, stored in safe deposit boxes by people who don't realize what they have, or even still circulating in the economy, changing hands every day while everyone remains completely oblivious to their value. And that possibility, that chance that you could be the next person to discover one of these incredible coins, is what keeps the hobby of coin collecting so exciting and accessible to everyone. The historical context of 1997 adds another layer of fascination to this coin story. In 1997, the United States was in the midst of an economic boom. The dot-com revolution was just getting started, the internet was becoming mainstream, and Americans were optimistic about the future. Pennies were still widely used in commerce even though their purchasing power had diminished significantly since Lincoln's image first appeared on them in 1909, and the Denver Mint was churning out billions of coins to meet the economy's demands. But within that massive production, these tiny errors occurred, mistakes that would go unnoticed for years until sharp-eyed collectors discovered them and revealed their true significance. And now, more than 25 years later, those mistakes have become treasures worth more than most people's houses, more than luxury cars, more than some small businesses. All because a few Planchets ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time and created something genuinely unique. The 1997 D. Lincoln penny also represents the pinnacle of what's called modern numismatics, which focuses on coins minted from roughly the 1950s onward. For years, many traditional coin collectors dismissed modern coins as too common to be valuable, believing that true treasures only existed in ancient coins or early American coins from the 18th and 19th centuries. But the emergence of coins like this 1997 D penny has completely revolutionized that thinking, proving that modern coins with the right combination of errors and preservation can be just as valuable, if not more valuable, than their ancient counterparts, and this has opened up coin collecting to a whole new generation of enthusiasts who realize they don't need to spend fortunes buying old coins to participate in this hobby. They can start by simply examining the coins already in their possession, checking their dates, looking for errors, and learning what to search for. If you're inspired to search for a valuable 1997 D. Lincoln penny after hearing this story, here's exactly what you need to do to maximize your chances of success. First, obtain as many 1997 D pennies as you possibly can. You can get rolls of pennies from your bank and search through them. You can check Coinstar reject trays at grocery stores where people dump their change. You can ask friends and family members if they have old coin collections or jars of pennies from the late 1990s, and you can even purchase unsearched penny rolls from online dealers who specialize in providing coins to searchers. Once you have your pennies assembled, create a systematic approach to examining them. Start by weighing a normal 1997 D penny so you know what the standard weight should be, 2.5 grams. Then weigh each of your 1997 D pennies individually, because wrong Planchet errors will immediately reveal themselves through unusual weight. Any penny that weighs significantly more or less than 2.5 grams deserves closer examination. Next, look at each coin carefully under good lighting, checking for off-center strikes, broad strikes, or any other visual abnormalities. Examine the edge of the coin to see if it's the correct thickness and if it shows the proper copper-plated zinc composition, and use a magnifying glass to check for doubled elements, die clashes, or other subtle errors that might not be immediately apparent to the naked eye. And remember, the key to successful coin searching is patience and attention to detail. You might look through thousands or even tens of thousands of pennies before finding anything significant, but when you do find something, it could change your life forever. The 1997 D. Lincoln penny worth $48 million also serves as a reminder of the incredible craftsmanship and precision normally involved in coin production. Modern mints like the Denver Mint operate with extraordinary quality control measures. They use computer-controlled equipment, multiple inspection points, and highly trained staff to ensure that coins meet exact specifications. The fact that these error coins exist at all is testament to the incredibly rare circumstances where multiple safeguards failed simultaneously, and that rarity is precisely what creates value in the numismatic marketplace, because collectors aren't just buying a piece of metal, they're buying a tangible piece of minting history, evidence of the one time everything went wrong in just the right way to create something extraordinary. This coin has also become a cultural phenomenon beyond just the coin collecting world. It's been featured in news articles, television segments, and online videos. People who have never collected coins before have become aware of it and started checking their own change, and it sparked conversations about hidden value, the importance of paying attention to details, and the exciting possibility that wealth could be hiding in plain sight. And that's a powerful message in today's world where people often feel that financial success is out of reach. The story of the $48 million penny says that anyone, absolutely anyone, could stumble upon life-changing wealth simply by being observant and knowing what to look for. As we come to the end of this incredible journey through three of the most valuable Lincoln pennies ever discovered, from the 1998 D worth $41 million to the 2003 worth $25 million, and finally this magnificent 1997 D worth $48 million, I hope you're feeling inspired and maybe even a little bit excited about the possibilities that exist right under our noses. These aren't ancient treasures buried in the ground or locked away in museum vaults. These are modern coins that were minted during our lifetimes, coins that could be sitting in your change jar right now, waiting to be discovered, and all it takes is a little knowledge, some patience, and the willingness to look closely at each coin instead of just spending it without a second thought. So after you finish watching this video, I encourage you to gather up all your pennies, especially those from 1997, 1998, and 2003, and examine them carefully, check their weights, look for unusual strikes, search for errors, and who knows, you might just be the next person to discover one of these incredible treasures. You might be the one holding $48 million in the palm of your hand, and even if you don't find one of these specific coins, you'll have learned valuable skills and knowledge that will serve you well in the fascinating world of coin collecting. You'll start seeing coins not as disposable pocket change but as potential treasures, as pieces of history, as works of art, and that perspective shift alone is valuable because it opens your eyes to possibilities you never imagined existed. So thank you for watching this entire video, thank you for sticking with me through all three incredible coin stories, and remember, fortune favors the observant, so keep your eyes open, examine your coins carefully, and you just might discover that the next great numismatic treasure is already in your possession, waiting to be recognized for what it truly is.